So after it's so dumb. It's so dumb. But after great after great deliberation, how can I change this fucking goddamn no, not lean back. Okay, so fucking dumb. Okay. After everything I've seen and what I've been trying to do and create this story, right? Like this mytho-poetic sort of, Homer's Iliad, but like in the mind and the fucking space that exists where there is, the space that we've created through our minds, through story and myth, the gods as we see them in that realm. But then so you get into like plasma consciousness, which is it's very much a thing. It is a thing. At least so I have been able to frame it and everything like that. Okay, anyways, but like this is where you get into like astrology and cosmological forces and the gravitational effect based upon their mathematical positioning in a three-dimensional space that's ever moving dynamically, but does so cyclically, and it's built into the nature and fabric of the reality we see everywhere around us. You like the golden ratio, and like all of these like I've my a great portion of my corpus, besides looking into consciousness, is these connections that we see both in nature and then from the ancients that they've given us to or in the form of megalithic structures that we see around the world. Two of my, like, the main sources of my, like, these guys are the guys that I depend on, that I made these connections from. The dude Base Forge, check out his channel, and then Libraries of the Untold. Anyways, they deal with our perception of thinking in the ways around us of thought and consciousness is one, but then the mathematical resonance that holds true in shape and sound and color and frequency and vibration and the state of being that you're in at any given time, and then your conscious projection outward, thus being a reflection back of the reality you create around you, and then we all do this simultaneously in this space, because we live in an information field. But at its fundamental core, it is an information field. Photons being at their smallest level, call them little bastards neutrinos. I think it's from the movie 2012. It is Woody Harrelson's little like animation. He's like, we call them little bastards neutrinos. But those things just contain like light. It contains information, and from that information, we are observing that and projecting it into our reality based upon our perception of these three dimensions as they hold to be. However they hold to be, they hold to be. But as a projection or a hologram of a greater interconnected source, that being the full source information field, the thing that we're all a part of, creation. But then in that creation, you have these projections of higher forms of consciousness that are reflected down upon us, but they are in symmetry, or at least in a balance so far as they're projected onto each other, so far as I can frame it, right? And in that you can channel those higher states of frequency or lower density frequencies as well, because those have to exist in that balance of yin and yang, those two separations of light and dark, not good and evil as we frame it to be, but just light and dark. shadow and luminous, right? And in that you have a contrast, and that contrast then blended together through it's like a horseshoe that isn't disconnected. They both connect, but it's at what point on that dynamic scale you look at this in your emotional frequencies too, like your love and hate, happiness and joy and sadness, sorrow and misery, anger, jovialation or jubilation, jovialations, whatever. They're words, like that's the other thing. They're words. They're very powerful, and they shape reality through conscious action by as we perceive them in language, thought, and intent. But you can disguise them, and you can manipulate them, and do all these different things, and on it goes, and all these things. But the whole idea that